So let's flesh that out a little bit more. So to focus on buyer driven. So a person who may not necessarily be in the professional space could be watching or listening to this podcast, and they're thinking, well, my product and my service is geared around other businesses. They do have a B2B sales business. And so how, and the question obviously is always entry into a market, especially when it comes to B2B. What are some of the foundational elements that a firm has to have in place to be able to begin the process of identifying a B2B customer that fits their product or service? And how can a person start to kind of move towards like a customer avatar, and then of course delivery of that product or service?
Great question, Micah. So to start off, really in order to succeed in B2B, you really have to have a really detailed understanding, and you need to be listening on three levels. You need to be listening to you, so understanding your business, what are your goals, what are your objectives. You need to have an understanding of the market, so listening to the market. So really understanding your industry that you're operating in. What are the trends? What are the developments? What are going on? What are the economic conditions? And you really have to understand not just at a customer level, but a buyer level. So let me give you a live example. So if I'm working with a technology company and they're doing managed services, so they're doing project management, they're maintaining systems for other businesses. You need to understand, if you're a business development person, you're on that team in that service provider, you need to know, okay, what kinds of companies are you going after? So perhaps we're going after second tier banks and financial institutions. So that's at a customer level, but we need to know within those banks who makes the decision as whether I'm going to go with this technology service provider or another. So what are the roles and titles of those individuals? So that's the first thing we need to know. So who makes the decision to buy, who influences? Then we need to understand what are the priorities of that individual. So for example, to keep it easy, it's the chief technology officer is the key decision maker. So what are the key priorities of them? And they may have some key priorities with respect to some of your service levels, your operating levels. What are some of your policies around support and rectification? They may have some growth objectives. So that bank may be looking to grow. So they may need certain services, capabilities like training, advice, consulting. These might be some of the things that they're looking for. So you need to understand what are those priorities. And thirdly, Micah, you need to understand how do those decision makers, the chief technology officer and other people who are influencing that decision, how do they buy? So what are they reading? Who are they talking to? Where are they going for information? Who are they getting their referrals from? And it's those three components together, but particularly that how they buy is very, very important because that's going to drive what you do for your go-to-market strategy.
Yeah. So let's nail down even further. So what is the different motivations in your experience between a consumer buying a widget and a business trying to secure a technology, a service, a product for their business that will help either the efficiency of their business or the customers or whatever they're trying to secure it for?
A great question, Micah. Typically, when in a business-to-business decision-making, there's often a number of priorities involved. Often it can be a combination of strategic and operational. So to go back to a technology example, it could be around growing the business. So they may want to be going into new markets, new geographic markets, new industries. So they need to make sure they have the right strategies and capabilities in order to be able to do so, making sure they have the right staffing requirements, right knowledge. There could be operational considerations because they need to make sure if I'm running a business, I need to make sure that my technology services and capabilities are running 24/7. And if something fails, that there's going to be fast turnaround and rectification, and I'm going to be communicated about that. So there can be strategic priorities, there can be operational priorities. There also can be Micah, personal objectives. So that chief technology officer may be looking to build their brand. They may be looking to become more visible within their industry and within their market. So they're looking for service providers.